I mean, what do you do if you have like relatives or whatever? I mean, you can't eat at their house, even if they're like vegan. They don't have dairy. They serve a salad, rice and beans. You're not gonna eat it.
You
I mean,
gotta
you know how
stop.
that is in certain cultures. They put a plate of rice
For
and beans in
sure,
front of
for
you, and
sure.
you're like,
This doesn't
No, they
necessarily
pulled it on me once too. My aunt, before I converted, caught me with that one.
lettuce doesn't necessarily mean it's kosher. I mean, it still has to be washed for bugs and cleaned and stuff.
So the whole thing of washing for bugs is something that they recently invented. Yes, there's a prohibition of not eating bugs, but there's no way to wash for bugs according to halakha. I mean, it's just something that most people don't know because I actually worked as a mashgiach for a little while for a restaurant. So they taught me how to wash for bugs, and I have a video on how to wash lettuce for bugs. But this is something that people made up recently. Yeah, don't eat bugs, but in terms of it being certified, what's called bodek, there's some vegetables that you buy. It's just like bodek vegetables, and you pay like 3 times the price just because some rabbi washed it and sealed it. So that wouldn't necessarily make it kosher. The rice, I remember. I went once to my aunt's house, and then whatever they had rice and beans, and I'm Spanish. That's like air for me, right? I'm like, there's no pork in this, right? And then she's like, no, of course not. And then I'm eating the beans. I'm like, oh man, I taste something. When there's pork in there. And then I looked at them.
it's
and they're
ham.
like,
It doesn't count.
they're like, what's the big deal? I'm like, get the heck out of here. That's like my religion, people. That pork. I like pork, so there's a bigger taiva there. Unlike shrimp and lobster and crab, things I never really liked. They don't take that too seriously.
So what's the deal with doing shakrita by yourself? Like where I'm in here, Australia, I got to import all the meat
There is no
from
issue.
Melbourne or Sydney.
There's no issue.
But don't you
There
have
is
to be
no issue.
certified by a rabbi?
Nope.
No. Okay.
There's no issue for what?
To do shita for yourself. To slaughter your own.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you know if you're doing it properly? How would you do that properly if you needed to?
Well, in the Mishnah, it does tell you how to do it.
There's a whole section. Yeah, but you didn't have to go to the Mishnah. I mean, in the Mishnah Torah, there's Hilchos Shchita that covers all of it. But yeah, I think that really could be an option, especially for those of you who live near farms or have connections to chickens or other fowl, turkey. With beef, it gets a little more difficult just because of nikor. So nikor is a separating of fats. That's a little more complicated. But at least from a basic level, all the halachot are found in the first 30 chapters of Shulchan Aruch in Yoreh De'ah, which I actually translated on Safaria. The first 28 chapters of Yoreh De'ah. It'll say Asher Meza edition. And if not, just go to Chabad.org and Hilchot Shchita of the Rambam. It's all there in English. Just learn the halachot and do it. Don't worry about rabbis telling you, oh, it's too difficult. Just rely on accepted hashkahot. Nonsense. So it says technically, like you don't even need a special knife. So I remember I ordered one of these fancy shchita knives just because, I don't know, like it makes you look like a scholar to have this little square knife to slaughter chickens. I think they're like $50 online. And then you have to buy these special stones that cost even more than the knife. These stones are like made in Japan. They're like made for like sharpening samurai swords. But the halacha says that you're allowed to use a rock, that you're allowed to use a piece of glass. The halacha is that it just can't have any nicks in it. And it tells you how to check for nicks with your nail, with your, like the fleshy part of your finger, and even with your tongue. It says your tongue. And it says that anyone could slaughter. A slave could slaughter. A woman could slaughter. It appears, black and white in the Rambam. It's very clear.
But
and it's all in English.
It can't be a Gentile, though. It can't be a Gentile, though. Yeah?
Right, a Gentile can't slaughter.
You're not Yeah. Even if you're watching, I read in the Mishnah, I said, even if you're watching.
Oh, but if you're a Gentile, then it doesn't matter.
Well, halfway.
Oh, you're saying for yourself? No, for yourself you could do it. It's still kosher for yourself.
So I eat kosher, but
if you're a Gentile, you can eat. I mean, you can slaughter rats and eat rats if you want, right? I mean, who cares?
No, that's silly. Hold on, wait a minute. Like the discussion I had with this Chabad guy is like that a Gentile serves God by eating crab. It's already stupid. All that means is that the Sanhedrin, if there was a court, that wouldn't find you liable for eating a rat. But that doesn't mean that if you're trying to hold true to God's word, that God doesn't care, like if you eat a rat. Rat is like, it's considered a sharetz. I mean, it's like, our mouse is like the worst type of contact you can have. If you feel that you're in a covenant with God, if you accept Torah upon yourself, like why would anyone feel that it was okay to eat a rat? God says don't eat those things. Heck, we love God here. We are people of God. We're trying to do what God says. I mean, don't let some Chabad guy tell you that God doesn't care. You knowing that his words are true, like for you to just break it. And this goes for all the mitzvot. I mean, I really get so upset when I hear rabbis tell this to people who already identify with Israel, who basically accepted the mitzvot just like the Jews in the mixed multitude, the Hebrews in the mixed multitude did on Mount Sinai. How are you going to tell someone who has come to the belief that the God of Israel is true and his commandments are true to just blatantly break them just because that's how they understand it? Do you know how stupid that sounds? Well, they'll say, well, the commands are given to Israel. Idiot, read it in context. 2 chapters before, there was no collective called Israel. It was the mixed multitude. It was Hebrews, former pretty much idolaters, who were drawn forth, like the Navi says, with bonds of love. God drew them forth to his Torah. You're telling me God's not drawing forth other people today? And only because some silly rabbi doesn't want to perform a conversion, some rabbi is going to be a chutzpan and tell someone who identifies with the Brit, with the covenant, go ahead and eat a rat, or eat crab, or dishonor your parents, or don't keep Shabbat, don't fight evil. All these things that have nothing to do with 7 laws. They are moral idiots. Moral idiots, my friend. But anyways, back to slaughtering your own chickens. I think it's a great thing for people to slaughter their own chickens. First of all, if you killed what you ate, you'd probably eat a lot less meat. I'm always dumbfounded when people tell me that they're against hunting or they're against killing animals, but they have no problem eating a hamburger. I don't think it's any cheaper, though, if you're trying to save money. Because the reason these supermarkets could sell that chicken breast so cheap is because they're buying them, by the thousands. But if you buy a whole chicken, people are going to think that you're buying a pet.
Yeah, we paid $25 for a chicken. $25 for a kosher chicken. Yeah,
oh yeah, it's expensive. Yeah, here it's probably around $14, $13. Yeah, probably like $10. I don't remember. I don't know what Costco had them for.
So like a standard chicken,
yeah,
a normal chicken is like $12. Here for a kosher one, it's $20.
Man, just sneak into a farm over there. You live out in the boondocks, right? Just like roll up to a cow and just shuck it and tie it to the back of your truck and just like peel out. Think about it. You kill a
kangaroos
cow.
Away, yeah.
Those kangaroos could be violent too.
Kangaroos are kosher?
Yeah, totally.
No.
Totally. No.
No.